Well, welcome everybody. We had a little bit of a technical welcome. I see some of you are popping on. We had a little bit of a technical issue, but so we're starting a little later than I would have liked. But thank you for joining and spending your lunchtime with us. Again, usually I allow people in a little earlier, but we had a little bit of a technical issue and I think it's fixed now. And hopefully that won't happen again. So yay, we have 12 people join us. Welcome, welcome. I see Sergio, hello, Lexi, I think we've met before. So let's just give it another minute or so. Again, we're starting a little late because I had a technical difficulty, but we'll get started soon. Let me just advance the slide. Hopefully you guys can all hear me. So if you can hear me, send me a chat. For the most part, we're going to be interacting via chat. I have my beautiful partners here. You probably see them, Jennifer, Blair, and Elisette Sapian with me. And so they're gonna be orienting you all with me today. And so I'm just gonna pause for a moment and, oh great, oh good. Humphrey, hello, how are you? I recognize you. Thank you for being here. All right. Okay, I'll just give it another 30 seconds. And we'll get started. So if you haven't heard me welcome you, welcome to the August 2021 member orientation. This is a webinar for people who are new to PIHRA and also people who have been members of PIHRA for a while, just to refresh you on what's going on with the association, what sort of member benefits may best suit you, and also what sort of professional development we have going on. Because usually we have a lot of folks join us. This isn't going to be a webinar where I'll be able to invite you to ask questions verbally, but I do want to encourage you to use the chat box or the Q&A box, and I will be monitoring that. We're going to spend the next 45 minutes together, and I really do the best I can to tailor it to you. So in the next minute or so, as I go through the agenda, please start thinking about what you want to walk away, what information you want to walk away with once you're done with this 45-minute webinar, because I want to make sure that you walk away with the information and or your next steps for how to be successful through PIHRA. And also, we are recording this. We have past orientations recorded as well. So we will provide that information in terms of how to access the recording, how to access previous recordings. We will send you these slides, and we'll also send you other sorts of things, links to different sorts of benefits or information that you might have requested, so that you have that in your email box. And we usually send that within an hour, 2 hours after the webinar. So, all right, I see everybody is, I don't think I could see all of you, and that's probably because we're in webinar mode, so I'm sorry if I don't see you. Okay, well, let's get through the agenda. I have, I'm going to introduce you to the individuals who got their video on in a moment. But let's go through our agenda really quick, because that helps guide this conversation. So we're doing the welcome. I'm going to give you a general update on where we are. Given the pandemic, it's been quite a couple of years, right? You guys can all imagine. Then we're going to do a poll. As I mentioned, I want you to walk away with the information that you need, so you could feel like, yeah, PIHRA is the right place for me, or you know where to go to access the benefits that you need for your career. Then I'm really excited to introduce you to my membership team and our special guest, Jennifer Blair, who's there. You see her videos on. And I'm really excited because I've gotten to become fast friends with Jennifer, and we got to coordinate a little bit earlier. And I'll talk a little bit more about her, but it was so interesting because I see her as a great connector. And she said to me, well, I think of myself as an HR honeybee. So I looked it up, Jen. I looked at what a honeybee is, right? Just because I was like, well, what is that? Did I hear that correctly? And it defines a honeybee as a eusocial, EUSOCIAL, flying insect. And I was like, well, what's eusocial, right? And then I looked it up, and it's a zoological term, and it defines an animal species showing an advanced level of social organization. And I was like, yeah, that's Jennifer. So I just want you to know you're about to meet somebody that you probably want to connect with because she is at that advanced level socially. And I'm just really glad to not only call her my professional colleague, but also a friend. So thank you, Jennifer, for being here. I'm going to do a PIHRA overview, most likely get through that pretty quickly, and really focus on the areas that you've asked me to focus on in this poll. We'll talk about some member benefits, learning and networking at PIHRA, and then just wrap up, make sure that we have all your questions resolved, and or I have them written down so that I can get back to you and provide you the information you need. I also want to welcome you. If this wasn't enough, or you still have questions that we weren't able to get to, schedule some time with me, because I do want you to be successful through PIHRA and just professionally on your own. I'm really passionate about that. So I want to invite you to do that. All right, I see something in the chat. Yes, I had to look that up, Jen. Okay, general update. Since March of 2020, our key priority on the PIHRA team is to make sure our community is healthy and safe. And so we have been monitoring all local, state, and federal authorities to make sure that we're doing the right thing. And so at that time, we decided to not have in-person monthly meetings. And some of you may be familiar with our monthly meetings. They're fantastic, but we decided it was safest not to do that. We are currently in, and through that process, we went virtual. So just know a lot of our webinars are virtual. We have great content. We have developed an annual conference. The next one's coming up in May 2022. It's actually going to be hybrid, at least that's the plan today. And our content is in 11 tracks of learning. It's, talent acquisition, employment law, strategy. So you'll be able to find learning in 11 content areas. And currently, we're planning to go back to in-person. It's a gradual process. I think our chapters, which I'll get into if you're curious, they're all pretty autonomous, and they're in different counties in Southern California. We're basically in Southern California. So each of our chapters are making those decisions on their own, given any sort of infectious disease information that they have for their county. That's going to impact their decision on whether they go in person or not. We're hoping to all go back, but as you see, there's certain counties and cities that are having an increase in the different COVID-19 variant. So we're being very cautious, and but we're passionate about being there for you. And if you're interested in some of the upcoming webinars and Zoom chats that we have going on, I'll cover that as well. So now, as I mentioned, I want to do a quick poll. And I do see some things in the chat. Anything I need to be aware of in the chat? All right, let's keep going. So at least that's going to help me launch the poll. Here we go. What information do you need to get out of this webinar? I want to hear from the majority of you, I hope. And then I'll try to focus in on those areas where the most of you have pointed out that you really want to focus there. So. All right, I see networking is coming up. It's usually one of the top things that I hear during these orientations. So, all right, let's give it another maybe 20 seconds, Elisa, and then we could view the results. Okay. All right, let's share those results. All right, many of you, almost half, want to talk about networking opportunities, seminars and conferences, HR certification is in there, and PIHRA and SHRM, and then some benefits. So let's stop sharing, and that's definitely what I will focus on. I talk a lot about networking, so that shouldn't be a problem. And just, yes, 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 yes. Okay. And by the way, if so many people are interested in networking, I am going to share my LinkedIn. So if you guys all want to share your LinkedIn so we can stay connected. So I'm just going to take a quick moment to do that. Let's see if it allows me to do that quickly. Yes. So in the chat, please connect with me on LinkedIn. That is a great place. And if Jen, I don't know if you've shared your LinkedIn yet, but please connect with Jen. She always has really interesting information to share. And so follow her. And again, like I said, she is quite developed in terms of her social, her networking, social networks. Yeah. All right, so I don't know if I introduced myself properly here, but my name is Liliana Aguero. I'm here in the middle. Everyone calls me Lily, so that's fine as well. And I am the director of membership. And just so you know, if we're having trouble technically, I apologize. I'm hoping that I don't freeze and jump out, but we're going to keep going regardless. I don't know why. I don't know if Zoom added something new or if we're having, some conflicts with our Zoom account or what, but let's just keep going. So I'm Lily. I'm not going to talk too much about me because I want to focus on the other things that you wanted to talk about. But this networking piece is important. I found my job. The reason I bring up LinkedIn is I found my job through LinkedIn, and also the reason that that worked is because I was doing some volunteer leadership, building a professional chapter of an association called the Women. What is it called? The Association of Women in MBAs. So I want to encourage you, like, networking, going to events is great, and shaking hands and trading business cards. But what will push your networking over the edge, and Jennifer is going to come back because I think she's having some difficulties. What pushed me over the edge was actually taking on a volunteer position with a community that I was interested in being a part of and helping. And that's exactly what happened. So Rafael, I'm going to introduce you to him in a second. He knew one of my colleagues that I got to know through this professional chapter that I was working on, and I had a role in. And he asked her, "Hey, do you know Lily? Would she be interested in working at PIHRA?" And PIHRA was a great marriage of my organizational development consulting background with my membership development background. I came here directly from the Girl Scouts of Greater LA doing membership building, but mostly through partnerships. So it was a little different. But so I want to encourage you not just to network and go to a bunch of events, but volunteer. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Talking about volunteerism, Matthew, he's also on this slide. He is the chair of the membership committee, and he sits on the PIHRA board as the chair, and has a voice at the very top board level. And I'll talk about that. Jennifer, for example, who I'll introduce you more formally in a moment, and hopefully she'll be able to talk. She is the chair of one of our chapters, PIHRA LA. So there's a lot of different volunteer opportunities that exist with PIHRA, and we can talk about those. Again, the tie-in is that networking is one kind of level of connecting within our community, but volunteer leadership is like hyper connecting with leadership. So and then I have Elisette here on the slide, who is my right hand. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself, Elisette.
Yes, thank you, Lily. Thank you so much for being with us, everyone. I'm Elisette Tapian. I'm the membership coordinator, and just to make it quick and short, because we want to introduce Jennifer. I am the first person you may speak to if you call the main number. So feel free to reach out to me or Lily after the webinar, and Jennifer as well, if you have any questions that we couldn't address. And yeah, Lily and I are very accessible. We do try to respond in maybe 24 hours in a working day. So we are very consistent and available to you. So I hope that you guys get the best out of this webinar. So I will hand it over back to Lily.
Great. Yeah, great point, Elisette. So, you know, the expectation I have of at least my team at PIHRA is that we respond within 24 hours, if not quickly. You know, if we're not responding within 24 hours, we're at a retreat, we've been out for some reason. And also want to let you know, please get a hold of me. If you're having a challenge with something or not able to access this or not feeling like you're getting what you need from PIHRA, don't hesitate to email me or call me. The best way to get a hold of me is email. So I just wanted, if you want to communicate with me, that's kind of my preference, but send me smoke signals, whatever you need, because I want to make sure that you are happy and get what you need to grow your career. So, okay, without hesitating much more, Jennifer, you're here. You got back on.
Yeah, no, hi everyone. So my computer decided to do a test for, you know, just to make sure we're doing things the right way. So I'm back. So thank you. And Lily, before I say hello, I just wanted to make sure that we recognize a question that just came up in the chat too.
All right, what's the question?
It says, and I want to make sure I'm pronouncing her name correctly, from Kiana, I believe.
Okay.
Can we volunteer even if we're not in Southern California?
That, you know, we are focused in on Southern California, but we do have members outside of our footprint, which I will show you a map of. You know, from time to time, pre-pandemic, we have a 3-day annual conference, and we need, at one point, we needed over 100 volunteers. So I believe there may be some ad hoc volunteer opportunities, but those longer term opportunities, I think it's best to be in Southern California, but why don't we set up a time to talk about that? Because, you know, I am open and receptive to different ideas, and I could introduce you to different folks if you want to pitch something. So yeah. So Jennifer, I'm so glad that you're here. Now you can unmute yourself and put yourself on video. And what did you think about my honeybee review? And tell us about you. I really want everyone to get to know you and PIHRA Los Angeles.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. There's nothing like having a big headshot awkward on your computer screen. So, hey everyone, I am Jennifer Blair, and I'm the chair of PIHRA Los Angeles. I'm super grateful to be here and to connect with you all. I wish we were doing this in person, although I know that kind of the format has been to do this virtual as well. And I'm excited that, you know, in terms of where we are today, coming through the pandemic, I wouldn't say coming out of it, but we've definitely positioned ourselves well as an organization. So to give you a little bit of background, so I've been involved with the organization PIHRA, Professionals in Human Resources Association, for probably a little over 7 years. I kind of stopped counting. And really why I joined in the first place was, you know, maybe similar to some of the people that are joining us today. You know, I was new to Los Angeles, and I just wanted to make friends. And so I loved working in the HR industry in general. And I went to my first meeting. It was the South Bay chapter And I fell in love with just how welcoming the association was, to take me in as an outsider that didn't know anyone. And so from there, I attended some other chapters and kind of got involved, but I really set my roots in the Los Angeles chapter. And I've just been really grateful to be part of our organization here, what we're doing locally in Los Angeles.
Jennifer, a lot of our attendees today were asking about networking opportunities. Any words of advice that you have? I don't know if you heard me talking about networking and how you can kind of put your networking on steroids if you start volunteering, but any advice for our attendees about networking within PIHRA or external to PIHRA?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say, just to full disclosure here, is I came into PIHRA as more of an introvert. And so that is important to mention because PIHRA has made me feel very safe to make connections within the local HR community, because oftentimes, when you think about networking, at least for me, it can be a little scary. There's other organizations that are out there that maybe aren't, as warm and fuzzy. And I definitely have felt that PIHRA is just such a great place to be part of as a community. And so to answer your question, Lily, is that I definitely feel like in terms of what sets PIHRA apart versus really any organization out there is, number one, is the networking opportunities. And, we were speaking earlier today that it's one thing to go to a meeting, and I'm totally guilty of this myself. So I have learned, exactly what not to do. So if I can share, any advice as to, what I've learned in the past, that could be helpful. I definitely have a lot more to learn going forward as well. But I've learned that, to really maximize your membership with PIHRA is to get involved. And it's a little bit more challenging, or a lot more challenging actually today, because of being virtual. And so in order to get involved and to really stand out in the community, we have so many incredible leadership positions that, we are looking for volunteers. Kiana, I'm sure we can find you a great place within our organization as well. So yeah, so definitely, becoming a volunteer leader is really the key.
Great, thank you so much. And I'm just going to go to the other slide because you see her beautiful face on this side. But I just want to also say I call myself an extroverted introvert because I do not like to go to networking events. I mean, I have to really push myself. And so thank you for reminding me about that. And so, yeah, I think that PIHRA is a family. It has, obviously, you're going to go to different chapters, you're going to get different feels, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But I also want to encourage you, if you're interested in networking, set yourself a goal like I do. Once a quarter, if not more, I set up an appointment with a former college colleague, or I call them a former boss, a future potential boss, PIHRA friends. So I really have to force myself. And I also look for things that I love to do. So it just so happens me and Jen both like to do hiking. So I am like, when are we going hiking, Jen? When are we going hiking? And so you will find your own way to network, but set yourself a goal. And my goal, my personal goal, is once a quarter, I set up an appointment with someone, and it doesn't have to have a purpose. It's just to say hello, let's have coffee. I might in the back of my head have some questions for them. And it might just be purely, personal. Like, I just want to get to know you a little better and build that relationship. I firmly believe that people do business with people they like. Not necessarily the person that connects with them the most or shakes their hand the most. So your first takeaway or thing that you're going to do is set yourself a goal. Once, maybe every other month, set up a time or go to an event. And I have some events for you as well. So that's a great way to approach networking. And it doesn't have to be with PIHRA. I love PIHRA. I think PIHRA has a lot of value, which we're going to talk about, but there's other organizations as well. It doesn't always have to be PIHRA. It could be another HR association. It could be your local women's club. So anyway, I want you to be successful regardless. And yes, even if you're an introvert. All right, quickly, PIHRA overview. Someone asked about the PIHRA-SHRM relationship. So I'm going to cover that here. Here's our mission. I am passionate about helping individuals and organizations be successful. I talked really briefly. I have an organizational development background. What does that mean? I did strategic planning with organizations ranging from small nonprofits to Fortune 500 companies. I work for a boutique consultancy. And that's where I really kind of tapped into what makes me happy. You know, what about my work makes me happy? And it was always about helping organizations map out how they can be successful. And that also turned into some personal executive coaching, managerial coaching. And it's the same thing, you know, and as HR people, we do that every day, right? We're looking at how do we help our organizations be successful through talent. And then we also work with managers out there who are managing your talent to coach them on how to be successful. So that's what we do. We were established in 1944 by a group of personnel managers. And I don't know if some of you might have been with PIHRA a long time and may remember that we went by districts. So they met out of downtown Los Angeles. And did you know this, Jennifer, that PIHRA Los Angeles was District 1, and that's why, because that first group met out of downtown LA, and they got together because they wanted to basically do what our mission says. They wanted to look at how do, back then, personnel managers, how do we train them? How do we create a pool of folks who are interested in this career? Do we need certifications for this career? What sort of academic programs do these folks need to have to be successful in this career? And so that's our history. This is when I like to talk about SHRM. So we were established before SHRM, because I believe SHRM was established somewhere in the Midwest in 1948, but they grew and grew and grew. And I think they have over, gosh, I always mess up this number. It's like over 500 affiliates in the world. We just so happen to be the largest in Southern California with over 4,300 members right now. And we are chartered under SHRM. So SHRM has their own membership, and PIHRA, and we're a pretty unique affiliate for SHRM. We also have our own membership. I think both memberships go really well together. And if you want to know why I think that, tell me in the chat you want me to continue to talk about that. And in the meantime, I'm going to introduce you to some more folks. But yes, we are associated with SHRM. We are the SHRM affiliate. We are the largest SHRM affiliate in the world. So that's that relationship. Jen, if you want to add anything, or Elisette, please let me know. If there's something in the chat, just interrupt me.
I was just gonna joke that it was really hard for us to kind of break away from no longer being a district, being number one, to officially being a chapter. So that was not an easy transition.
Cool. Anyway, key players in our association. Tara Fournier is a volunteer leader. She's actually in the highest position in our volunteer structure. She's the president of the PIHRA board. As you can see, she has pretty intensive knowledge of HR, has been in HR for a while. She's now the VP. I'm so happy for her. She recently, I think, late last year, beginning of this year, became the VP of Human Resources at Vizio. You guys all know Vizio. You might have a Vizio TV, for instance. And she actually worked with SHRM before she went internal into HR, or, you know, she went back and forth, perhaps. I'm not quite sure. She's great, very smart. I love working with her, and also accessible. Well, now that she's a VP, not as accessible as she was, but a great example of being a volunteer leader with SHRM or PIHRA. She helps guide our future. And then my fearless leader here is Rafael Rivera. He's our CEO. He brought me on, as I don't know if you guys heard my story, but he recruited me through LinkedIn. So if you don't have a really good LinkedIn profile, do it, and also volunteer, because that's how I got this job. And I really credit him for just bringing PIHRA to the next level. For example, our annual conference, some of you who've been around a while, remember it was a PIHRA annual conference. Now it's the California HR conference. And so I personally feel that our conference is one of the best conferences west of the Mississippi, in my humble opinion. We have a great time. If anyone's curious about our conference, we are having it next year in May. It's going to be hybrid. We'll talk a little bit more because I know people want to know about our seminars and our HR certification as well. Any questions that I need to chat that I need to be careful about?
No questions so far.
All right. So here are your fellow members. Right now we have right around 4,300 members. We've seen a decline in membership. I think it's mostly due to what's happening with the pandemic. You know, we kind of go in ebbs and flows. I think associations in general follow the economy. So there was kind of like a lapse, a lot of furloughed people. We represent, our members represent over 2,700 organizations. The top 4 industries represented by our members are consulting, healthcare, education, and manufacturing. And 37% of our members are HR certified. I know some of you are interested in HR certification. I recently took the SHRM SCP exam. I am not a good test taker. It was no joke. If you guys are interested, I do have a slide. We do have some certification prep courses. So just so you know, we provide professional development, and that includes like, you know, remember when you took the SAT, or, you know, you were going into business graduate school and you had to take the GMAT or GRE, and you took a prep course or you did the studying? That's what we do. We provide the prep courses to help you study for the exam. We are not the certification agency. There's 2 certification agencies. One is HRCI and the other is SHRM. So all I got to say is I needed the prep course. I needed over 150 hours of study time. And I did study groups. I organized them myself. So I actually got a salary increase after, just so you know. And I hear there's statistics out there that once you get your HR certification, depending on which one, your salary can grow up to $20,000. So Jennifer, you're certified, right?
Yes, I did the SPHR, and I had a really wonderful experience. I did it with UCLA Extension, and not sure if they're meeting in person again, but one of the things that I found out was that PIHRA actually gives a discount as part of membership to the UCLA Extension courses. And I loved doing it with a group of fellow students to be able to learn together in person. So I love Lexi's question, and she asked if anyone is here that is studying for the PHR California. And then Claire also mentioned that she recently passed the SHRM SCP without a prep course. So it can be done, but she wishes that she had a prep course, and she found it to be challenging.
It is. And Lexi, you know, I was thinking about taking the PHR California, but I don't think I'm ready. It just finished the SCP. I don't think I'm ready to do a study group with the PHR California. I did take the class, but yes, if anyone is interested in studying for the PHR California, I think besides, for me personally, you know, because I have the OD piece, the SHRM SCP was important, and it's very similar to the SPHR, so either one, right? And the next most valuable certification in my head, and after talking to some certification instructors, is the PHR California. But that is a tough, you know, if you're not living the day-to-day employment law that goes on in HR, like I don't, I think it's a tough one. So, but good luck, and please, you know, connect with Lexi, because for me, Lexi, it was all about the study groups. Go on our LinkedIn, and I'll show you this. Let me keep going, but ask that same question in our LinkedIn group, and all our LinkedIn groups. I know you will find somebody. Now that you told me, I'm going to see if I come across somebody who wants to study with you. So yeah, great question.
Well, Lily, just wanted to share for the comments. So it looks like Russell, looks like he has a really interesting last name. So I won't try to pronounce it, but he holds the SPHR and is taking the PIHRA California soon.
Okay, Russell, Lexi, it's all about the Zoom study group, if you ask me. And if you have more questions on what I did with my study group, I'd be glad to share that. But I definitely encourage you to do the HR certification. It can't hurt. And it also, I'm an older, I feel like I'm a Gen Xer, to put that in perspective. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but it was harder for me. I felt I've always had trouble with tests. And so having to exercise that study muscle in the reading and comprehension, it's a challenge. So I don't know if I want to do that again right now. Anyway, let's talk really briefly. Not many of you asked about our chapters, but hopefully you see our map. We have 18 communities. Pre-pandemic, they met monthly. And so now we're having webinars, but it's a great way to meet people and network. I'm hoping that eventually it's never going to look like it looked like pre-pandemic. I'm pretty confident is that we'll have some in-person meetings and then some webinars. It won't be every chapter meeting once a month. Don't you agree, Jennifer? I think that's going to kind of shift because we have adopted tech in a different way.
Yeah, and if I may chime in too, I just wanted to say it's been really enjoyable being part of PIHRA to work through the thought process of what the organization is going to look like in the future. And I think that that's very valuable because, as we look to how change management is happening within our own organizations, it's been a really cool experience to work with a volunteer organization and to kind of think about future growth plans. So that's been really fun.
Yes, you guys are mapping out the future in a very uncertain environment. And so that's another, like we were talking earlier, that's another great benefit of volunteering. It's not just networking and visibility, it's also those leadership skills, like the planning skills, the having difficult conversation skills, delegation, time management. I mean, those are the things that are really going to help you be successful as a leader in HR and in your organization. So great. Anyway, I think there was something in the chat, Burbank Glendale. Yes, so when you become a member, you select your preferred chapter. You may select Burbank Glendale, but you can go to any of the chapter meetings for the member price. You may want to, say for example, we're back to in-person meetings and I'm with Burbank Glendale, but I really want to go to the PIHRA Los Angeles meeting that's going on because I like the topic and just want to get to know some more people. I recommend that you register in advance, not go and pay at the door, because unfortunately they may not know that you're a member because they don't have you on their roster, for example, or they're not familiar with your name, they haven't met you before. So register in advance, get the member price, contact me, go to our website, try to find someone. If you're one of those people like I am, like, oh God, I don't want to show up by myself to an event, contact us. I will connect you with someone with PIHRA LA. You could either email. Every one of our chapters has an email address, so you can email them. But yes, so you can go to any chapter meeting for the member price. They may just not, your preferred chapter is your home, as an analogy. So usually that volunteer board will reach out to you. Each of these communities has their own volunteer board. So if that wasn't clear, so there's 18 different, actually there's more because I'm going to share, we have some special interest groups, 18 opportunities to get involved on a volunteer basis and for people to get to a sense of who you are, what your work ethic is, what quality of work is. And so, for example, if you want to, if you're looking for that next best opportunity, another position somewhere, that's where you're going to find out about these positions. And then if someone hears about something and know you, they're going to contact you about it. So yeah, any questions about chapters that have come up? Okay, great. We also have 3 specialty groups. One is the PIHRA Foundation, and I'm already running out of time. See, I told you, ladies. This is a group that's its own entity. It's 501c3, and mission is to work in the community, kind of in the workforce readiness area, and also raise funds for scholarships. So if you or anybody you know on your teams are interested in getting HR certified or pursuing an HR degree, please apply for one of the scholarships. Here's the information on where to find more information, but usually those scholarships are in the spring and fall. So I think the next one will open up in October. We have Club PIHRA. This is a fun side of HR. And these are the folks who are primarily responsible for the corporate picnic, the employee recognition events, the Christmas party. And so under normal circumstances, which right now we're not under normal circumstances, they do have quarterly events, very similar to the chapter meetings, but they have them at fun venues. So one time they went to House of Blues, in Anaheim, they go to Magic Mountain, go to Knott's Berry Farm. And the fun thing about that is that you go to the event, there's a meal, there's professional development. By the way, all our professional development through the chapters, either in person or the webinars, you can get recertification credit. So the same with Club PIHRA. The fun part is that after that piece, you get to go into Knott's Berry Farm for free, or at House of Blues, you get to see, I think they had this Led Zeppelin band play. So I like that sort of thing, but that's a cool thing about Club PIHRA. These specialist groups also have their own board, so another opportunity to volunteer. I am very proud of PIHRA Emerging Leaders. We established them in 2015, and we had a group of volunteer leaders who were really pushing this along, and this is our future. And I love working with people who are younger than me. I'm young at heart, by the way. I saw there's a boomer out there. I get you. I was raised by traditionalists, so my dad was a boy, and so I get that. But really like to work with a whole bunch of different people at all different levels, right? That's diversity and that's teamwork. And so I love working with this group. We actually won the SHRM Pinnacle Award for our work in this area. They have their own board. So if you're interested in emerging leaders, you identify as an early entrant into HR. We don't define it by age anymore because I think it excludes people. So if you're an early entrant and want to get involved or just learn more about them or help to host an event or anything, reach out. Okay, I have 2 minutes. I have run out of a lot of time. I'm going to go late, so I hope you guys can stay with me. Again, feel free to follow up with me, Elisette, or even Jen, because I'm sure she'd be happy to speak to you. Benefits, the online, someone said in the chat, I need you to go over the online tools and things. Well, number one thing is PIHRA is the place where you're going to meet the most local HR professionals than any other place. You saw our footprint. This is where I like to say it's really hard because I work with HR professionals. It's a pretty lonely job, and sometimes you can't talk to other members of your team because it's just a little awkward, or you're dealing with some confidential matters. And so this is where you can go to find those colleagues that might be going through something similar or have gone through something similar. And obviously you're going to keep the strictest confidence about issues, but I know one of our volunteers called the people she met through PIHRA her HR Fab 5, because she has 5 people on her Rolodex that she knows she can call. And this is where you're going to meet them. The professional development, this is where you're going to be an HR expert, increase your earning power because you're the expert and you're maintaining that consistent learning in the HR field. And we have this great tool, PIHRA Workplace. It is powered by Think HR. Now it's Mineral, and gosh, we have a HR hotline through that. It's free to PIHRA members. You can call them an unlimited amount of times. There's a compliance center with hundreds of policies. There's an employee handbook builder. There's a job description builder. There's a lot on here that you get with your PIHRA membership. So if you're not utilizing this, let me know. I will help you get on. It's a partner. So some people get confused on how to log on, but me and Elisette are here to help you with that. here's just a more explanation, and you're going to get these slides. I think I told you. So we have PIHRA Comply and this telephone-based HR consultancy service that we call PIHRA Live, and you get unlimited calls to PIHRA Live. For people who are in transition or wanting to research companies because they want to make a move, I've heard about the Great Resignation. I think this is a time. It's an employee market, right? People are needing to staff up, and especially in HR, organizations need you. But this is a great tool. So many things available. They have a resume. It's all online. Resume building workshops. You could practice your interviewing skills. They have a video that'll video you answering questions. And I know I need to do that because it's always that practice in the mirror thing. So you could see how people are perceiving you. So that comes with your PIHRA membership. Volunteerism. There's many ways to volunteer. There's a conference volunteer opportunity that I mentioned earlier. If you're out of our footprint. There's ad hoc committee positions within chapters. There's chapter board member positions. Like you could be a membership chair and work with me. You could be the chair like Jennifer is. You could be on a PIHRA committee at the board level, at the association board level, like Matt Pallets is. And you could be like Tara and be on the board. Now, I do suggest if you want to volunteer, you start kind of at the beginning, maybe participate in a chapter just in an ad hoc manner, putting on an event. Maybe you host a chat, a Zoom chat or something like that. So now that we're virtual, it might be a little easier. So I'm open to different ideas with this, but volunteer. It takes your networking to the next level. All right. Professional development, I talked a little bit about that. As a member, you do get a discount. We have virtual learning right now. We went virtual. We had to. We've had PIHRA monthly chapter meetings that probably will look different in 2022. We're still trying to figure that out as we are in maybe post-pandemic phase. I don't even know if we're post-pandemic anymore, but we have our conferences, which I'm going to talk about in a second, and special programs that I'll also talk about. And members get a discount to all these. You save at least $15 on a lot of them and maybe more on some of them. We have virtual chat. So if you want to network, not network just because it's uncomfortable right now to go to networking events because of the masks and how do I do this? You could do it virtually. So just get out there. Remember I said, make yourself a goal to at least once a quarter do some sort of event. HR certification, we have those coming up. And I'm just checking the chat to just see if there's anything I should respond to live. Anything I can respond to live, or are we good?
Bridget is she made a comment in the chat that she's eager to volunteer and become part of the PIHRA board member. So I think we can definitely connect Bridget after the webinar to a few of our volunteer leaders.
Okay, great.
Even Jennifer. I encourage you to connect with Jennifer too. Maybe she might know someone.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I don't think there's any questions, but if you guys have any last minute questions, I think this is the opportunity to do so.
Yeah. Just want to also let you know the California Employment Law Update is streaming live on October 28th. If you're not a member and want to become a member, there's a great bundle. It's the best deal that I have for you right now. You could register first. We call it SELU, Fall 21, and become a member. And the membership only costs you $100. Regularly, it's $150 for your first year, and for renewing members, it's $125. So if you are interested and want to, get this in, we are really well known for our employment law conferences. We usually have it in January. This year, we're having two. So one in January, one in the fall, in October. This is a fabulous event. It's $99 for members. If you do not want to become a member, which I'm sad if you don't, and you belong to another HR association, it's $149. And if you're not a member and you want a membership, it's $199. So definitely want to encourage you. We also have a learning management system. So A lot of our webinars are on demand and are either free or very low cost. A lot of our webinars are low cost. And here's a huge list of things that are coming up. Some of it's free, most of it is very low cost. So write down if there's any topic that is interesting to you, write it down, register at PIHRA.org/calendar, and just get it on your calendar now so that you can assure that you're going to do at least one thing in the next 30 days. Jennifer, I see that you're doing something on mindful leadership. That sounds really interesting, and that's coming up next week. So sign up for that. That's a copy chat, and it's free for members. So I think pretty much that's it. When you get these slides, you're going to find ways to connect with us online through LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We have a PIHRA forum that you can connect with. I think our LinkedIn social channels are the most active, just so you know. And I've gone 6 minutes over, but thank you so much for being with us during this lunchtime. My name is Liliana Aguero. If you want to reach out to me, if you want to talk about anything I didn't talk about today, or you want me to elaborate on something or anything, email me and we'll set up a time to chat. Any last words, Jennifer and Elisette, before we sign off? We are sending, okay, we are sending the deck to everybody. So Russell, you will get this within an hour.
I just wanted to say next Wednesday is going to be an excellent presentation. So really, really excited about that.
Yeah, I want to do that too, Jennifer. That sounds really interesting. And with that, stay healthy, take care of yourself. Self-care is so important right now. Watch out for things that, you know, keep your energy high, and you have to do that by taking care of yourself. So with that, thank you for joining. Thank you, Jennifer, for being here with us. And Elisette, thank you as always. Have a great rest of your afternoon, and we'll be in touch in the next hour or so with the deck and some links for you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.